Hey, everybody. Welcome to Last Week from the Table for October 13th, 2020. I'm your host, DM Gallibond. Now, Last Week at the Table is where we talk about the sessions that happened in the 3 actual play games that I run every week. And this week we had a player that was in 2 of the games that had to step away from both of them for personal reasons. And I was a little anxious about that because I had 5 strong players in those games, and that dropped me down to 4 players. But the sessions we had this week were actually pretty good in both of those games, and it felt like going to 4 players. While we did lose a strong role player, we kept 4 players who all also enjoy role play. And it felt to me as a DM like we were not leaving people hanging as much with having 4 players as we were sometimes with 5 players. Because with 5 players, it felt like there was always the party always wanted to split themselves 3 ways. So there was one character off doing something, and then there was a couple of characters over here and a couple of characters over there, and I was having to try to remember to give equal screen time, and really kind of failing to do that. So that was I felt kind of bad about that in that instance. But with 4 players in the games, it kind of felt like even if they split themselves 2 people over here and 2 people over there, it's a lot easier to manage that as a DM and not feel like you're getting halfway into a session and realizing, oh crap, I haven't brought the camera over to pick up with what's going on with this character over here, because there's always stuff to fill the scene with these characters. So I don't know, maybe 4 is a really good number for a virtual game. I've always felt like 4 was cutting it very thin, because if somebody had to miss, then you're down to 3, and 3 is like the bare minimum for a viable party. And I also am the kind of DM that I don't want to skip sessions if I can avoid it. I want to keep having content out there to make sure that people who get used to coming and watching the stream can rely on the fact that there's going to be something there in that time slot every week. So, I mean, if I had a bunch of viewers and a bunch of subscribers, I probably wouldn't worry so much about it, because I would know I have a built-in audience already. But when you're in that phase of trying to build the audience, you want to be consistent. So 5 has felt like a good number for me, but maybe I've been wrong all this time. Maybe 4 is actually a better number. Hopefully we'll see with how the viewer count goes. Hopefully now people will maybe people will tune in more regularly, and the average number of viewers will start to steadily climb. We're certainly getting, over the last few weeks, we're getting a lot more subscribers on the Twitch, and I really appreciate that. So, enough rambling about me. Let's go ahead and talk about what happened in these 3 games. Thursday nights at 8 p.m. we play the Sword Coast Chronicles, and this is sort of our love letter to the 5th edition published D&D adventures. And on Thursday, they were in the caravan with the dragon cultists, headed north from Baldur's Gate towards Waterdeep. They were trying to figure out how maybe they could go about figuring out what the cultists have in their wagons. And the dice smiled upon them. As we went along, they encountered a day where it was really rainy. It rained most of the morning, all afternoon, and into the evening when they finally came to an inn. And when they went into this inn, there were the innkeeper, his staff, and 4 patrons. And so, looking forward to a night in from the rain, the party members, as well as people from the caravan, started asking the innkeeper about rooms, and they got the same question. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. All the rooms uh, have been reserved for tonight. They were all been paid for. I don't have any room. Well, what about your stables? Oh, all the stables have been paid for, and there's no room in the stables. A little bit of looking around. There's only 4 people in the inn, other than the caravan members. And there's only 4 horses in the stables. Something's not right here. And then, of course, the 4 people that were there, they started running their mouths. They began, uh, making snide comments about the caravanners, the dirty, muddy sewer trash, uh, they called them. And then they made fun of one of the party members, who is a quite accomplished bard and played pretty well, but they decided they were going to make fun of him anyway. Well, all of this didn't go down very well with the PCs or with the caravan members, and it started a big bar brawl. And at the end, the 4 loudmouths were soundly defeated by a combination of the party members and a few unlikely NPC allies in several of the cultists from the Cult of the Dragon, who didn't really like the way these guys were running their mouths either. So the cultists, of course, wanted to kill them. The party members and the rest of the caravan said, no, 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 we can't kill them. Then we will be, really in the wrong. So after questioning these guys and finding out that they were being asses simply for the pleasure of watching other people suffer, the party sort of made a compromise. They didn't allow those people to be killed. They did allow them to be stripped of all of their belongings, including their armor and all their clothing except their small clothes, and then get lashed to their own horses and have the horses sent up the road in the rain, uh, in the night. And so that kind of served them right for being butts. And the party members, as well as the caravanners, were able to rent out the rooms in the inn and pass the night safely. So the PCs, before they turned in, they used that opportunity to go out and do a round of the wagons with detect magic going. And they were able to find that in one of the wagons belonging to the Cult of the Dragon, there were several magical items. None of them super powerful, certainly no artifacts, perhaps uncommon items, perhaps common items, something like that. But there were several of them in one wagon, and there was one of them in another wagon. So they don't know what they are because they were just going on the outside of the wagon and detecting magic through the tarp. Or the artificer had their detect magic up as they walked around the perimeter of the wagons. So, what will they find? Have to tune in on Thursday night and find out in the next session of the Sword Coast Chronicles. Then on Saturday night, we are playing the Lost Mine of original D&D. This is a retelling of the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and it uses original D&D monsters, original D&D characters, original D&D rules. which makes it a very different adventure. It's the same plot, same storyline. Some of the players are familiar with it, some of the players are not, but it plays out very differently because this version of D&D is very unforgiving. Um, and the biggest thing that happened is that one of the PCs actually died in this game. Now, if you're familiar with 5th edition D&D, you know that there's a concept called death saves. Not so in original D&D. So this character is a thief, and the character was trying to climb up a 20-foot wall. And the rules for climbing are you climb halfway up the surface, however high that is, and then you roll your climb check. And if you fail, you fall whatever distance that is, and you take falling damage. Well, this is a first level character with 5 hit points. Got halfway up, failed the climb check, fell 10 feet, which is a 1d6, rolled a 6. So went from full health to negative 1 hit points. And died. So, that player is going to be selecting a new pre-generated character for next session. And we'll introduce that character to the party at the beginning of the game. He's already told me what he wants to take, and he's already given me a one sentence. This is how I know about the party and how I meet up with them. Okay, good enough. That's all we need. So, Lost Mine of Original D&D, if you want to get a sense for how the rules of combat, how the rules for saving throws, how the rules for, you know, all of the typical D&D tropes work in the original version of the rules, you can join us on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. and watch this game. Then on Sunday afternoons at 2 p.m., we have the Walker of Waterdeep. This is the planeswalking game. The characters are in Ravnica. They are trying to solve the murder of one of their PCs. Remember, I told you the player had to step away, so I explained in this game that the reason that that character is no longer around is because it was murdered. It just so happened to work that that character had gone off by themselves at the end of the last session where the player was able to play. And so then the report comes back to the PCs the next day. Oh, he's been found murdered. And because of a kind of poison that was found there, which is native to Toril, but is not native to Ravnica, the PCs actually were implicated in the murder. So they were kind of under house arrest because they're diplomats. You can't just go take diplomats and throw them in jail, but they were under house arrest. And fortunately for them, one of the other party members got attacked in the middle of the night by an assassin. The assassin was a haunter of Night Vale, using a very wicked-looking dagger and a strange arcane orb, and attacking again with a poison that paralyzed the victim before they began the ritual assassination. And the party was able to discover that, oh, wait, something's going on, and they ran in and they were able to stop the assassin before it could kill the character. They also had the guards that were stationed outside of the quarters that were able to come in and see, oh crap, this is what was done. There were actually a couple of guards that witnessed the assassin uh, in the act of trying to kill them. So now they know, oh, wait, no, the party is not implicated. Somebody else is trying to kill them. So they got their names cleared that way. And now they're still back to trying to solve who sent the assassin, why the assassin was sent, what the significance of the crystal orb and the dagger are, and try to track down what's going on, because the whole thing has a very ritualistic feel to it. And they believe it's somehow connected to the mission that they are on, but they're not quite sure yet. So this was a situation where I was able to use a little DM sleight of hand and turn the lemons of a player leaving the game into lemonade by using that as a uh, plot point that I could then add into the game and make it something very interesting and unique for the rest of the players. All right, so that is the Walker of Waterdeep. We play every Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. and we would love it if you joined us here on this if we joined us on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Gallibond, where all of the actual play games are held. All right, well, that's going to do it for this edition of Last Week at the Table. This is D&D Gallibond, just reminding you to try to make your gaming sessions memorable so that you have tales from your table that you can share as well. Good night, everybody.